welcome back to Trifles and Tribulations. We are absolutely not feeling it today in the studio. I'm feeling a little sick. Telgar's feeling a little rage-inducing. Something happened at work,
I want to
or...
run someone over.
Oh. Well, don't do that, please. Because that means
I
a
won't.
whole lot of legal issues that you'll have to deal with. And that's not going to make you feel better.
That is true.
Also,
My
killing
lawyer
people
is
is not
telling me
good.
that I am just joking when I said that.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Those
Yeah,
of you
no,
listening to this
today's not.
podcast in your car right now, Telgar is also in his car. So please,
Yes.
please do not pass your road rage onto them.
No, God, no, please don't.
But do you
Yeah,
want to talk
the one
about
thing
it?
you do while driving is talk. So, God, where do I begin? Okay, so
Oh no, that's not good.
I don't, I don't like going into specifics of my job simply because people do know my name. People kind of know where I live, and so my job is kind of the only thing I can really keep anonymous. So I'll go into very generalizations, but basically I work in the woodworking industry. So what that means is when people build cabinets, I'm in that industry. But I'm not in the industry that builds the cabinets. I'm in the industry that sells the machines that builds the cabinets. So anyway, I got a customer, and this customer gets a brand new machine. So we have to come out, we have to install it, we have to make it all nice and pretty, and the customer pays for the installation in advance. So obviously, the faster we do it, the better off we are. And so I fly out to another city so that I can install this machine. And I'm here to install it. And the customer is basically giving me all of these bills that are old. And the thing about my industry is that old materials don't work very well. We always want brand new materials when we're testing a new machine because we want to make sure that everything is exactly brand new so that there are zero possible issues and defects so that we can at least make sure that the machine is doing what it's supposed to and that if there's any problems, it's because you're using shitty stuff. So anyway, he keeps giving me all of these old materials, and I just cannot get this machine to work properly. But the problem is there's one material that does work properly. And that one material is throwing everything off. Because if everything wasn't working properly, then I know it's my machine. But if one fucking thing works, then it means it's not my machine. I'm pissed, as you can imagine. And I'm trying desperately to find a fucking piece of material that works. And I can't. It's only one material. And the customer keeps telling me, oh, this stuff is some stuff that I asked my friend in his warehouse, hey, can you get me what you have in the far, far back that's probably never been touched for a decade? And I'm just thinking, sir, this shit expires after 2 years. You can't do that. And he's just being like, oh, no, this stuff doesn't expire. It's plastic. It's like...
Can I ask what they were building?
So, to get into specifics, basically, what they need is they need a banding, which is basically like a piece of plastic to stick to the side of their board. And in order for this plastic to stick to the side of the board has to be cleaned, and then it has to have glue applied, and then the banding is applied. Now, the problem is that plastic does not stick to wood glue. This is physics. Does not work. To make it work, you add primer. Now, the banding comes with primer on it already. So normally you don't have to add that. But what happens if your banding gets soaked in water or your banding is many years old? Well, the primer wears out because primer is water-based. And with age comes moisture. So the chemical properties of primer weakens over time when exposed to the elements. This is why if you have paint or primer, it's sealed in a can. Because if you just had it, it would dry. And then it wouldn't be as useful. So, physics dictate that if you do not have primer, your shit's probably not going to stick well.
Exactly.
This is just obvious. Everyone knows this.
Well,
If you
not
paint your house,
everyone
you
thinks
primer it.
about things. That's the issue. Is that they
Actually,
just ask,
yeah,
why can't we do this?
yeah. And let me rephrase that. Anyone who's been working in an industry for many, many decades, like this person, should know this.
Yeah.
Should. Key word.
Hmm.
So, like, if you think about it, if you paint a car, what do you do to the car first? You primer it.
Well,
If you paint a house, do you
sometimes
get
you need to
paint for the
buff it
house and paint
down
it?
so that the paint actually
Well, yeah.
sticks.
Well, see, that's the thing. In order to band wood with plastic or PVC, you first pre-mill, which is buffing. You sand it down and you make it nice and smooth and you make it uniform
Yes.
because saw blades do not cut things uniformly. They
Mm-hmm.
leave blowout.
Yes.
So first you sand or prep it, and then you primer so that the paint sticks.
But it comes straight from the factory. It should be straight and primed and ready to go, right?
Well, see, that's the problem. I'm pretty sure all of the banding he has given me is many, many years old. And being that this location is right by the sea, it's probably also moist and ruined.
Oh, jeez. I just meant, like, in general, when, like, factories ship out, like, pallets of, like, either 2x4s or sheeting, they, like, rip them down and
Yeah,
whatever. And, sometimes those aren't super straight, you know?
yeah.
So don't. Using the factory edge of something does not mean that it's going to be straight.
No. And I know that the boards are straight because I can actually put a machine level against the board and I can verify is the board actually
Oh,
straight,
okay.
and the board is straight.
Cool.
And then when it's pre-milled, I can then measure the board after pre-milling and I can check is it straight, and it is straight after pre-mill. And then I can also apply the glue and then stop the machine and then remove the board and be okay. Is the glue correct? Is it exactly how it's supposed to be? Is it too much to the left? Is it too much to the right?
Mm.
And it is correct.
Okay.
And
So it
then I
seems like
can
there's
apply the
only
banding.
one issue here.
Yes, the banding. So, anyway, come Thursday, the day I'm supposed to leave, I'm not because he got brand new banding from from his distributor, and it's like awesome. Now let's go ahead and take this banding. Let's put it in the machine. And why does this not have a sticker on it?
Oh, no. No.
There, I look inside, and there was actually a sticker, but it's a sticker with a QR code, which is weird because I've never seen a QR code on banding. So I go and I take my phone and I snap the QR code. It's a phone number. Interesting. I call this phone number. There's a digit missing. I'm starting to think this is not a first party banding and maybe a third party banding, which
Yeah.
means we don't know whose distributor it's from. So I look at the bill of sale, generic information, no manufacturer.
They went out and
This
got this at
motherfucker
Dollar
is
Tree.
this motherfucker is taking banding with no information and throwing it into a warehouse in piles without any identification. I don't know if I'm using Stylite, Dorcas, Rayhow, or what. And they all work differently. So now I'm livid. I still don't have brand new banding because who the fuck knows how old this banding is if it doesn't even have a first party label on it. So I don't know how old this banding is. I don't know if it actually works. Call my office and they can't get me brand new banding straight from their own offices until Monday. I'm not staying until Monday. So I'm now in a position where I can't fly home today and I have to come back again tomorrow when I had a job somewhere else to do tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to again try to figure out won't we get banding that works? And I don't like this game anymore.
And people wonder why scheduling doesn't work. Like, hey, what happened? I scheduled this day for this day. Why isn't he coming? Oh, well, he had to stay in Idaho because the previous customer is still holding them. They can't do that. Yeah, you're right. They can't do that, and they shouldn't be doing that, and yet here we are. Also, welcome back. Um, this does remind me of a joke. If you have a minute, or do you want to keep going?
No, no, keep going. I accidentally I accidentally ended call. I didn't mean to.
It's fine. So this old man brings in his wood cutting axe and says, "Hey there, I need my blade sharpened. I need to go cut out some trees in my back lot." And the guy at the shop says, "Oh, here, let me sell you one of these chainsaws. They're this new thing that you probably you don't have one of these. These will be good." And you're like, "All right, I'll try it." And he comes back the next day and he's like, "Man, this thing was terrible. I couldn't do hardly anything with it. It must be broken or something." And the man's like, "What? It broke? There's no way it could be broken. It was brand new." And, he takes it behind the counter. He looks at it, and, makes sure it's oiled and got gas in it. And he's like, "It's working properly." And he pulls on the hand and goes, "Rum, rum, 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 rum." He's like, "It's working fine." And then the old man's like, "Hey, what's that noise?"
Oh my god.
He was just taking the chainsaw and whacking trees with it.
You know what that makes me think of?
Yeah.
Someone who's never used a car before thinking that it will move before you turn it on.
Oh my goodness. Like I don't want to go into like a big long spiel again, but there is a difference between like people that don't know how stuff works, of like, how do I attach the internet to this email? And then there are people that live so spoon-fed, and this is these kids these days that grew up with a Tesla, a self-driving Tesla, that when they get put into a stick shift, they're like, "I don't know what to do. I have to press the brake. My car usually does that." And we're like, "You're going to kill us." And they're like, "Yeah, probably." What do you mean?
So I would probably
okay?
I would explain that a different way. There's two different type of people. There's the type of people who know how to do something or know how to figure out how to do something. And then there's the type of people who are too dumb to even do the basic common sense of figuring things out.
Right.
So you have somebody who's given something they've never seen before and they can figure it out. Like somebody who's seen electronics before can figure out how to do and use another piece of electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the people who are just too fucking incapable of touching something that is beyond them. They just don't ever want to figure it out. And that's the people who've never used a certain electronic device and they're like, "I'm not going to figure this out. I'm not even going to try it. What's this button do? It's not working. Why isn't it working? Work."
I will at least appreciate those people that say, "I don't know how it works. I'm not going to touch it." Because there are so many people that are like, "I'll figure it out." That are like, I mean, that's what knowledge is.
Probably a third group. Yeah.
No, knowledge is not knowing how to do stuff. Knowledge is knowing that you don't know a lot. The more you know, the more you realize how little you know. And that's what knowledge is.
I've always thought of it as knowledge is knowing something, wisdom is figuring something out. Like knowledge is like the nuts and bolts of something. Like knowledge in medicine is you know how to do certain things in medicine. Wisdom in medicine is knowing that you probably shouldn't take a needle and stick it directly into your body. You should probably put it at an angle.
That reminds me of another joke.
That's how I think of it.
This oh shoot. I just forgot the joke. Shoot, what was it? Oh, I remember the joke. This lady had problem with her computer, so she hires a specialist to comes out, and he takes one look at it, pulls out a dinky little hammer, taps the side of it, starts working again, and he says, "Okay, that'll be $1,000." And she's like, "What do you mean $1,000? All you did was hit it with a hammer." And he said, "Can I get it itemized?" She said, and he's like, "Sure. $1 for hitting it with the hammer, $999 for knowing where to hit it."
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes, exactly. That is why you get a specialist.
Yep. You don't hire a specialist because they're willing to spend hours on something. You hire a specialist because they don't need hours to figure it out.
Exactly. It's not for them
You
to do
hire.
the manual labor. That's what their, understudy is for. Or apprentice? Yeah,
Yep.
apprentice.
Yep. Yeah. People charge more per hour than other people because of labor. That is, or because of knowledge.
Yes.
That you pay somebody more because they can do it faster and they can do it better.
And they can get it done and done properly the first time.
Yes.
And they don't have to
Yep.
finagle and figure it out and, figure out like, oh man, this is what usually works. I don't know what's wrong. You know,
Yep.
you get someone that knows what
Exactly.
they're doing.
Yep. One of these days, I will figure out where this in and out is.
Anywho, it
I
sounds
don't
like my
remember where
dad
it
is
is.
pulling in. Do you mind covering for just a minute if you want to keep ranting about
Yeah, go
the
for it.
job? Okay, I'll
Go
be
for it.
back in just a couple minutes.
Uh, so yeah, basically, I am stuck in this situation where I have to go back again tomorrow when I was supposed to be somewhere else. And I have to once again try to fix this problem, which I'm pretty sure is not a problem that I can fix because I'm pretty sure it's the materials. And while I'm doing this, I need to hope and pray that I can force the customer to go out of his way to go to a different manufacturer and get a very specific type of banding from that manufacturer, which I don't know if they're going to be willing to do. And the problem is that's really the only way that I can determine that it is not my machine and it is in fact the material I'm being given, is to get a known good quantity and test that known good quantity. And if that known good quantity does not work, then we know it is not that quantity. It is a different thing. And that's what fucking sucks right now. Because I don't think I can get another banding by tomorrow. And if I can't get another banding by tomorrow, then that means I have to leave the customer with the machine unfixed. And if I leave the customer with the machine unfixed, he's more than likely not going to sign off the papers. And if he doesn't sign off the papers, then that means we have to get this paper signed off at a different time and in a different way. And that's frustrating because those papers need to be signed off in order for us to be paid. So, this just sucks a lot. And I hate it. And that's basically the situation I'm in. And I'm just so annoyed because I just want this stupid thing to work. Just want it to work. I want one good banding to work. And here's probably the worst thing about all of this. The most infuriating thing about this whole situation. I can make his machine work. And it works flawlessly with no problems. And all I have to do is turn on an option that he doesn't want on. And that pisses me off. And basically what that option is this machine has the option of applying the glue in a different manner. And when it applies the glue in that different manner, it adds more glue. And when it adds more glue, things stick properly. And you might think, oh, well, if adding more glue makes the machine work properly, then it must be the machine. Oh, see, that's the problem. Adding more glue always makes the machine work properly in every situation with any kind of material. Because when you have more glue, the glue takes longer to dry and harden. And if the glue takes longer to dry and harden, it has a better bond. So the fact that turning up the glue fixes it doesn't always necessarily mean it's my machine. It could still mean that it's the material. So all I have to do is just turn on this additional glue option and boom, the machine works flawlessly. And the customer doesn't want that because now it means he has to take a cloth and acetone and wipe his board so that it doesn't have any glue residue. And because this man's machine is brand new, he doesn't want to do that. Which is kind of understandable because, I mean, if your machine's brand new, you you're not going to want to do an extra step normally. So, I don't know. I'm just frustrated. I'm just very frustrated. Because I can kind of understand why this man is angry, and I can also kind of understand that he needs to just shut the fuck up and get the correct banding so that I can at least make sure it's not the banding. And he's got one more day to do that, and then I fly home. And then he's on his own with a brand new machine. That cost him a lot of money. Yeah, today sucked. Today really sucked. Anyway, Sparrow's still gone, and hopefully Sparrow will be back soon, so that we can go back to talking about something different. Did that motherfucking customer just cut in line? Okay, no, he didn't. Oh my god, I just got to the In-N-Out, and I thought for a second there, some car just decided to cut in line, like really far ahead. So, okay, so here's a great gripe that's different from work. If any of you have ever been to an In-N-Out, first off, I will say, and these are fighting words, and most people would kill me for saying this, In-N-Out is mid at best. Yep, I said it. I do not think In-N-Out is good. I think at best it is okay. But here's the problem. It's not that In-N-Out isn't the best food. I don't care if In-N-Out's not the best food. What I care about is the fact that every time I go to In-N-Out, there is a 20 to 30 minute drive-through wait. Because there's always like there's always like 15 cars in line at In-N-Out. 15. Now, granted, In-N-Out is a little bit slower than most fast food places when it comes to serving food. So it takes a little bit longer to get the food. Kind of makes sense why the lines are long. But the problem is if the food is only mid, why are people willing to wait 30 minutes for it? Now, granted, I am currently sitting in line for that food that I consider only mid, and I know will take me 30 minutes to get it. But unfortunately, there is no other place for me to go. If I want to get any other type of food, I have to go inside a restaurant. And I will be honest, I am not going to fucking step foot inside a restaurant at 7:15 at night when I started the day at 6 o'clock in the morning. I worked a 13-hour day. No way in hell am I walking into a place. I'm going to get my shit in my car, I'm going to go to my hotel, and I'm going to knock out. So, I'm stuck getting In-N-Out. God damn it, Sparrow's still not back. I'm running out of things to rant about. At least I don't feel so stressed out or frustrated now that I've kind of gotten all my rant out. What else can we rant about? Fuck, I don't really know what else to rant about. I'm actually in a better mood now. Huh. Let's see. I guess we could rant about... Fuck, yeah, no, I can't think of anything. I'm out of ideas.
The only question now is how long do you have until you arrive?
I probably got like another 15 to 25 minutes.
Okay, then I won't go into too deep of a one.
Okay.
Let's see. I've got a whole list of things here. I hate ice cream cake. I hate ice cream cake so much. With a firing passion, I hate ice cream cake. Ice cream cake is not delicious. Cake is delicious, and ice cream is good. But ice cream cake is just terrible because it's too hard, it's too cold, all the cake parts are frozen solid, and if you warm it up, then the ice cream melts. It's just the worst of both worlds, and I hate ice cream cake.
I love ice cream. But I only love ice cream cake if you've let it sit outside for a little while so that it softens a bit. Like, you can't take ice cream cake out of the freezer and eat it right then and there. You have to give it a moment.
Well, then what's the point of having a frozen cake?
Well, you don't. You put it in the fridge if you're going to eat it that day. and then that way it's
But
softer
even if
but
you
not
put it in the
liquidy.
fridge, it gets soft and starts melting because it's
Yes.
ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. I like ice cream cake.
There's like a very specific window that you can have ice cream cake that it's bearable. Otherwise,
And
it's.
during that window, it's glorious.
But when you make a thing to be so specifically something and you can't enjoy it for what it is, it's not
That's why,
useful.
I mean, I guess, but that's why you only have it during like special occasions. Like, I will only ever have ice cream cake during my birthday because I really like mint ice cream cake.
I will say
Mint
this.
ice cream in a chocolate cake is really good.
If you can get a fresh ice cream cake, and you
Yeah,
usually can only get this if you like order one in or something, because you can't get one out of the
yeah,
freezer. But if they make it
no,
right then and there, then the cake part is still cakey and the ice cream part is still ice cream.
yeah.
It's when you mix them together and actually make an ice cream cake that it stops working.
Yes,
So the ice cream
yes.
cake part of the ice cream cake it does not work, and you have to just enjoy the cake part and the ice cream part, which defeats the whole purpose of having an ice cream cake.
Yeah, I I can understand. There, calm down. No, I can understand the frustrations with it. I like mint ice cream cake because it's impossible to get that kind of flavor anywhere else. But yeah, I can understand the frustrations.
It's like having the Oreo cookies that aren't Oreo flavor. Like the peanut butter ones are getting a little too far. Mint ones are good, but you're getting a little too far out of your lane. And then when it's something weird, like the peanut butter and jelly, or like the peanut butter cookies and the peanut butter filling, that it's literally just a
Oh,
Nutter Butter, that it's not even an Oreo anymore. It's like, stop! It's not an Oreo
oh,
anymore.
no. Get that shit out of my face. No, no. I am 100% behind you on that. No, no.
Stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. And I'm not
Exactly.
saying that like Doritos can't be like different flavors other than nacho cheese, because actually nacho cheese is not the original flavor of Doritos. That's why they're called Doritos
Yeah,
nacho cheese. Like in other countries, the Cool Ranch is the original Doritos flavor.
yeah.
It's really interesting. But yes, specifically things that are made and designed to be a certain way that you cannot enjoy them unless they are separate is things that I don't enjoy. Like the freaking Nintendo Switch. I hate the Switch because as a console, it's just a normal console. It's like the level up from just like whatever the previous version was to the next thing, but it's designed to be a standalone handheld device. Like the failure of the Wii U was, but now the sides can pop off and you can put it into a dock and use it like a normal console. And so people are just supposed to gloss over the fact that it is a handheld device. Because when you try to use it as a handheld device, it's too heavy, it's too wide, it's too big, and it's not in a good position to use it. Like the freaking Game Boy, the screen was above the handhelds, like a normal thing. And when you have the DS, the screen flips up so it's away from the handles, like a normal thing. But when you've got the
So,
stupid Wii U and the Nintendo Switch, it is right in the middle and it blocks there's no comfortable way to sit or lay or do anything with it portable unless you are sitting down and have it in the dock and using it not as a portable device and using it like a normal freaking. The controls are
so
terrible.
as someone who has a Steam Deck, and as
Mm-hmm.
someone who's used an ROG Ally, I would say that the Switch is the superior console because it feels better than both of those two.
When you have something to compare it to and say that it is the better option, that itself does not make it good, though.
True. That is very true.
That is what I'm trying to say. Because when you
Yeah.
relate it to something like the DS, would you not say that the DS would be better?
No,
Really?
because I would say if I try to do anything that's like Breath of the Wild on the DS, I'm gonna fucking scream.
Well, I
See,
don't want to play Breath of the Wild on a handheld device.
here's the thing though. I would not have played Breath of the Wild as much as I did if it was not handheld.
Would you
There's
play
certain
Red
games that
Dead
I just
Redemption on a handheld device? Would you play CS:GO on a handheld device?
okay. So those two are different because both of those two require a lot more shooting, and I would never do a shooting game on a handheld
All right.
device.
Would you play Mass Effect or Half-Life on a
Both shooters. So no.
uh I would say no. Those are more story-driven games.
They are story driven, but the fighting is shooting. Anything that requires shooting is always going to feel better on a mouse. Now, anything that's a strategy game, I would infinitely rather play it on the Switch than on the PC.
The only other kinds of games that I can think of are like side scrollers. Because something like
Yep.
Skyrim, you would say, oh, that's just a shooter type game.
Right? No. I would actually say that Skyrim is playable on a Switch because Skyrim is not necessarily a shooter. Because the only time you use play it as a shooter is if you choose to be an archer.
Or you use magic where you have to aim.
Yeah, but you don't have to aim pinpoint with magic.
But you,
Magic is usually pretty wide hitbox.
with melee, you do still have to kind of aim properly.
Well, large hitbox. The reason why I won't play a shooter on a thing like Switch is because it's too difficult to fine point accurately shoot a bullet using a joystick.
Okay, so
I am not a console baby.
you wouldn't play Call of Duty on a handheld device, but would you play Spider-Man?
Yes.
Really?
Oh yeah. I would love to play Spider-Man.
Even though
on
you
a
still have to swing and point at stuff specifically and dodge perfectly.
It's not quite the same as shooting a bullet. It's shooting a bullet that I find difficult on a handheld.
I think there are specific types of games that work for handheld devices, and there are things that do not.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And so I think the entire point behind designing and releasing an entire game console that is a handheld device and then giving it games that are not handheld accessible and saying, oh, well, you can just put it in a dock and use it like a normal console doesn't make any sense to me. Because
I agree with you on that.
let's go back to the GameCube. Just a normal console, normal controls, works great, perfect, great games, great system. You go up to the Wii, it's got some weird controls, but there's like some adaptability. They were trying stuff. It was getting into the motion detecting era, and they did a bunch of different things like the Wii U and like the steering wheel and the crossbow or whatever, and Wii Sports and all that nonsense. And then you get to the Nintendo Switch, and it's like, okay, so we know all these things that they hated about the controllers. Now let's make it even smaller and have just the same stupid 2 buttons and a joystick. And it's just like, ooh, you like learned all the things that were wrong with the Wii and the Wii U and decided to exemplify it. And
So,
I hate all the people that are like, well, you could still plug in a GameCube controller and play it like a console. And I was like, that's not the same point. It's freaking a handheld console.
so here's what I'm hoping is going to be different from all consoles after that.
Mm-hmm.
The Steam Deck is actually a perfect example of what they could have done for the Switch to have made it better.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is the Steam Deck did something that no other console and no other handheld has been able to do. Something that has improved console and handhelds for all time.
What's that?
They introduced a fucking trackpad.
Oh, so you can do like
Which
a mouse
means
thing?
the Steam Deck has a mouse. And that trackpad is infinitely fucking better for fine point accurate shooters than a fucking joystick will ever be.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you play a game on your phone and then it like brings up like the controlling. Like playing on a
Hmm.
phone is not as bad as playing on a controller for shooting games.
No, it really isn't. The problem with playing on your phone is the movement, because the
Yes.
aiming is fantastic on a phone because you're using your finger to determine where you're shooting, and you can be a lot more precise with your finger than you can using a thumb.
Hmm.
But the problem is you also have to use your other finger to move. And that's kind of what makes shooters on a phone not very fun.
Yeah.
Now, the Steam Deck basically gives you the ability to play games that normally require a mouse infinitely easier because trackpads are built into the Steam Deck. The only reason why I say the Switch feels superior is because the Switch is lighter and the Switch is smaller than the Steam Deck. If the Steam Deck was a little bit lighter and a little bit smaller, like the ROG, excuse me, like the ROG Ally, which is a Steam Deck but smaller, lighter, uses Windows, and is about twice the cost. But the point is, it feels smaller and it feels lighter. And that's what makes the Switch feel so much more superior than all of these other console handhelds. But you're right in that the Switch's only benefit is how it feels.
Correct. And when you
Everything
take
else
in the
is negative.
concept that we have technology like phones and pads and tablets and whatnot that are basically just
Yeah.
big touch screens, like,
Uh-huh.
why the heck is the Nintendo Switch not a touchscreen?
It's so much easy. Oh, yeah, that fucking annoys me. But the thing is that I honestly feel the Nintendo Switch to me feels like it's just a tablet that has attachable side controllers. And it makes me feel like all you needed to do is just create a Bluetooth fucking attachable side controller and you basically had a Switch.
Yeah, basically. Except that
Yeah.
they decided to make the most convoluted and non, uniform
Yeah.
controllers that just suck. They just
Yeah.
suck.
So I will say one thing that is that I like about the Switch, like among more than the PlayStation, more than the Xbox, there is one thing that I do think that Nintendo did right. And that is the fact that Nintendo continues to innovate with their consoles by just making them different
But
instead of
different
making the
isn't
same
always
goddamn
good.
fucking box. It's not always good, but it's at least better than the same fucking box, but just better graphics.
See, the problem is that they innovated by going with this concept that we already know about, and they failed at every conceivable aspect of it. They made a
I
phone
wouldn't say
much
they
too
failed at every
big
aspect.
and to be useful. They made it way too bulky. It has way too many detachable parts that are the only useful parts that you can actually use to
Yeah.
interact with it, and it's just a mess.
I feel like the one thing that Switch does that is better than every other console, though, is that just like the Wii and the Wii U, the Switch does have a lot of motion interactive type of games that are really, really good and really, really
Well,
fun.
the Wii did that.
That's true. And so did the Wii U. So the Switch is
But the
technically
Switch
no
didn't
better than
improve
those other
upon
two in
that.
that sense.
It just stuck with the same
You're right.
concept. In fact,
I just,
Nintendo Direct
yeah,
Sports is worse than Wii Sports.
yeah, that is true. I was thinking more of what is it? What's that RPG the Wii Fit RPG game? I forget what it's called.
The Ring one?
Yeah, that one is a superior game. That game is really fun.
I mean, that's what got me hyped because I thought that they were going to do more stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because I remember the Wii U games that came out that I was like, oh man, this is not very
Yep.
good, but for like the first thing of anything being like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was one where I came over to someone's house and I was like a sword and shield person, and they had the Wii U and they got up and they were an archer and they were helping me out
Yep.
like unlocking gates and stuff. And I'm like, this is so
Yep.
innovative, not very good, but innovative.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they did not improve upon that with the Switch. And it's a
Exactly.
shame because with all of the VR systems out there, there's no reason that they shouldn't have just turned the Switch into a VR type console. And honestly, I hope that the next Nintendo console is partially VR. It needs to be. Because that's the only way for the Switch to innovate, to make it a partially VR console.
But they need to do something that actually is seamless. Like when you played Mario, you know, you've got the platformer, and then you go to the 3D ones like Super Mario Sunshine. Perfect.
Yep.
You go to the next Super Mario Galaxy. Also perfect.
Yep.
And included seamless things like pointing at the screen and collecting star bits or shooting star bits at things and whatnot. And, you know, then you go to what the Switch has, and it's like, what new innovative features are there for Mario? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We've got new different types of power-ups that are weird and more like Kirby, but that's fine, I guess. Just Mario power-ups have gotten less innovated, and we're not using any of the old Mario power-ups anymore. Oh goodness, no. None of the old Mario power-ups are any good. We're not going to go back to the staples that work. We're just going to keep being innovative.
I would actually argue that new Super Mario Brothers and the ability to make Super Mario levels was pretty fucking awesome.
That's
Not
amazing.
innovative,
I'm talking about
probably.
the stupid, like, the stupid ones, like, being an elephant. That's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, the new Kirby game had some fucking amazing innovations with Kirby.
Oh, yes. Kirby games are always bangers every single time. But if you look at the
Yeah,
new
but the Switch Kirby game was better than any other ever before. In
Superstar,
fact, I would probably say the only Kirby game better than the newest Kirby game is Kirby Superstars. And that's because Kirby Superstars is literally fucking unbeatable. It is the best game that has ever been made, hands down, and rant.
there was one on the Wii that I don't remember, but it, like, introduced the aspect of, like, having multiplayer Kirby, and that was amazing. And, you know, you could do that now.
Kirby
too, with some
All
of these-
Stars had multiplayer.
Are you saying All Stars or Superstar? Wait, Kirby
All Stars for Super Nintendo.
Maybe that's the one that I'm thinking of. There, I feel like we've had this conversation before. There's Kirby Superstar. There's Kirby Star Allies, but there's no Kirby All Stars. Oh wait, All Stars. There it is. Yeah, it looks like just all of the good stuff that a Kirby game should be.
Yep. The other thing about Kirby All Stars is that Kirby All Stars was literally 8 games in one. It wasn't just a Kirby game. It was multiple Kirby games, plus multiplayer Kirby games, plus lots of mini games.
Return to Dreamland was the one I was thinking of, but All Stars is basically just that game, but with, like, more content. Epic
Yep.
Yarn was different and interesting, but only just stylized. Like, there was also the one where he was, like, claymation and as a ball and whatever, and it's like,
Yep.
that's interesting, but not great.
Those were all cool.
Yeah, they're
But
cool.
the newest, most latest Kirby game is one of the best Kirby games that's ever been made.
But they've
It's
been
so
able
good.
to do bangers after bangers with Kirby, and yet Mario games always seem to struggle.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's because they stay true to form. They know how it works, and they don't
Yeah.
change it too much.
But I'll be honest, that's all that matters. I mean, every once in a while they innovate, and then after they've innovated, they make a couple of well-known that they know will always work, and then they try another innovation, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and then they kind of stick to what they know. I mean, the last innovation I would say to Super Mario Brothers, I would say was not Galaxy. The last innovation I would say was Odyssey, and Odyssey was fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't say that was the last innovative.
And I don't
game.
remember if Odyssey was Wii U or Switch.
Right, but
I
it
think it's
didn't
Switch.
introduce any new, like controller things. Like, you didn't use any of the detachable controllers to do something cool or anything.
Yeah, you did. The hat. The hat can be controlled by flicking the controller instead of just using the controls.
I'm not talking about like the actual software about how the game works and whatnot. I'm talking about the actual physicality of the Nintendo Switch. The actual
Yeah.
physicality of the console did not bring anything new. Detaching
guess so.
the controllers off the side and like trying to do something with them was not a thing. That was not part of the gameplay.
Yeah.
The fact that it was
I know.
a portable console did not affect the gameplay at all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
And Mario Galaxy did do that because when you had the controller, you could point it at the screen and shoot star bits at stuff.
Well, see, that's where I would say you're wrong. There's a lot of things that you can do with that when the controls are disconnected and used separately. There's a lot of things you can do. It's actually required for most speedruns. And yes, speedruns are not normal gameplay. I'm just saying, there's a lot you can do when you disconnect the modes and use them separately. But you're right.
Name one thing that you can't do in the game system that you couldn't do on another console.
That you couldn't do on another console?
Other than
hat
have it be
jumping.
portable.
Oh. I mean, other than it being portable, like I said, the hat jump tricks. You can actually toss the hat out and you can jump on top of your own hat by flicking the controller in just the right way when you're using the hat.
Right, but you can just do that with any controller.
No. Well, I mean, I don't know if you can do it using the thumbstick. I think you have to flick in order to get it to work.
So you have to literally take off the controller off of the side of the screen and throw it to make the hat?
I think to make this trick work, yes, but I don't remember offhand. That's the only thing I can think of, and honestly, that's not as innovative as Galaxy. I agree. But I don't really think that's required.
No, I'm just saying that they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The only thing that was new and innovative about the Nintendo Switch was that it was a portable console. And in that, it failed. Because nobody uses it as a portable console. The option is there, but it's not a great use of it. I'm sure people use it. I'm not saying that people don't use it. I'm just saying that it was not a great thing.
Well, here's the thing. How many times do you think I've docked my Switch?
Lots of times. I mean, you have to do it whenever you want to power it up, or do you just use the cord?
I've never once docked my Switch ever since purchasing it.
Okay, then how do you charge it?
I charge it using a USB-C cable.
Okay, that's technically docking it. So you just maneuver your way around the cord whenever you're playing with it?
That's plugging it in. I've never actually used the dock. I put the dock away in a closet after I got the Switch. Not once has it ever been plugged into that dock. I've never used it on a TV.
Okay, so you've never used the physical mount for it.
No, I've never even plugged it into a TV.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never been used as a console. It's only ever been used as a bigger Game Boy Advance.
And do you like using it that way, or do you wish that you could have had these games on something else?
No, I think it's almost perfect.
Really?
Yeah, it literally does everything I want it to, which is not be a console. But you have to remember, I am someone who loved the PSP and the PS Vita and did not buy a PlayStation or an Xbox because of it.
I've never used those, so I can't comment on them. I'm just saying that if I was playing something like a Mario game, I would want to have a controller. If I was playing a Metroid game, I would want to have a controller. And for what those controllers are, I don't think they are as good or as useful as a normal controller, and I would always want a normal controller.
And my answer to that would be, I would actually be the exact opposite. I would prefer to play them handheld. Neither of those games are a game that I want to sit down somewhere and actually play on a big screen.
Well, I'm not saying
I'm the
that I would
exact
want
opposite.
them on a bigger screen. I'm just saying that I hate the controllers.
Well,
I'm
that's
not
the thing.
saying that I
I
would
would
rather
not
play
want to
them
use
on
it
a
for a controller.
console. I'm saying that I do not like the
Yeah.
controller setup. The fact that your controller is so wide and so heavy is not fun to me.
I mean, I've I've experienced worse.
There's always
That's why I
worse,
don't really
but
think.
does that make
Yeah.
something good?
No, but just because something isn't the best doesn't make it terrible.
But when
Goes the other way
something isn't
around
the
too.
best, when you know it could have been better.
Then you hope that a second version comes out that improves upon it. Which technically, a second one did come out. The Switch Lite, which does not have disconnectable controllers.
Oh, interesting.
That was actually a superior version of the Switch, in my opinion, because the controllers do not detach, and it's literally just a Switch but slightly smaller, and all in one piece. It actually feels even better than the Switch, and light years better than the Steam Deck.
Oh my goodness. Why did they still... Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason,
They
they still
completely-
decided to keep the thumbstick controllers not aligned.
Yeah, I know.
Why though?
I know. That's a good question, isn't it? Because you're not detaching it. So why would you make it unaligned if it doesn't detach?
My only
fucking hell.
guess is that people like they wanted people
used
to
to
be
it.
able to go seamlessly between a Switch and a Switch Lite.
Mhm.
That's probably the only reason.
Probably.
But yeah, I could talk all day about the Nintendo Switch and controllers and whatnot. I will admit that I probably just don't like handheld devices. I will say that I enjoyed playing Pokemon games on like an emulator rather than the actual DS. And again, it's not about screen size, it's about like controllers and whatnot.
Yeah. And so the funny thing is that I played almost every single Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Genesis game, all of those games, I've played all of them on an emulator on a PC. So I'm with you. If I play Mega Man, I'm better at Mega Man with a fucking mouse and keyboard than I am with a controller, which is fucking insane to think of that.
Well, you
Because
don't
Mega
use
Man
a
is
mouse for
not
Mega
a
Man.
fucking control. Well, yeah, you only use the keyboard. But the point, though, is that Mega Man is not a fucking keyboard game.
No.
You do not use a keyboard for Mega Man. Who the fuck does that? I somehow am better at it.
I mean, it's just basically WASD and then you select what, JK and L for like fire, jump, and whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I do that for some of those console games or whatnot. There are some games that I prefer to have on console or like on PC, and it has nothing to do with like if it's a shooter or not. Because there are some shooters I prefer on console than PC.
Yeah. No, same. I mean, there are some games that I just feel better on console. You're right. Like, what would I say? The Mass Effect games. Like, that's a perfect example of I prefer the Mass Effect games on a console than I do on a PC. Because it just feels really good with the console controller.
There is something to be said about having something on a console that feels more authentic than a PC. That's not what I'm talking about here. But yes, I know what you mean.
Well, I don't mean by authenticity. I mean, like, how the controls feel.
Are you eating something?
Yes, sorry, I'm eating ice.
What are you eating?
I like ice.
Oh.
I'm eating ice. I went to In-N-Out, so technically the ice from In-N-Out is nugget ice, and I really fucking love chewing nugget ice. And yes, I know, everyone's going to say, oh, you shouldn't chew ice, it's not good for your teeth. Fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about. Nugget ice is perfectly fine for your teeth.
I like the people that
And that's
like
my rant.
see a video on the internet that it's like, oh man, my dog is acting weird, and then like there's like 1,000 replies of like, oh my goodness, your dog is stressed out. You need to take that dog to the vet. It's actually got a certain type of cancer or whatever, and
Yeah.
like it has Parkinson's. You need to get it shots now. And I'm just like, do you
And it's
actually
like,
care
no.
about the dog, or do you just want to be right?
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude, he just had a little piece of chocolate. He's fine.
And maybe the
He's gonna
dog
be
does
fine.
have cancer, but like,
I mean, let's be honest. I'm pretty sure all dogs have cancer. Look at the crap that we put in their bodies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, how far are you from your
I just parked.
Okay, so we can call it here. We went on a few
Yes.
different tangents, but that's sort of the point of this. So
But yeah, I would say if you ever get the opportunity, put in your hands an ROG Ally and feel how that feels.
an
And in my opinion,
ROG
that
ally.
the ROG Ally is basically a Steam. It's like a Steam Deck, in that it is a handheld laptop console. And the reason why I say laptop console is because it has Windows loaded. It is an actual desktop version of Windows, and it has a touch screen, and it has a mouse in the form of a trackpad, and it also has console controls. So it feels like a console. It holds like a console, like a handheld console. It works like a laptop, and it can do whatever you want. But the thing about the ROG Ally is that it feels really light. And
So
it feels
it works exactly like a PC and has all the amenities of a PC, but instead of having a keyboard and mouse, I can instead have it portable and use controls.
Mhm.
Why
Yep.
would I put myself through that?
Because you may not want to use a laptop to play a console game. You may rather use the ROG Ally to play a console game, or you may want to hold the ROG Ally as your controller and use an HDMI cord to transfer the data to the big screen TV.
The only reason why I can think of not wanting to use my PC to play a game is because my PC is dying, and I'm trying to be very careful with it.
So, things like the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck aren't for you. They're for people like me, who either A, does not want to sit at their PC anymore because they already have for 10 hours and they need to get off their fat fucking ass and do something different.
I
Or
can
B.
understand that.
Yeah. Or B, they travel too much. So they don't have the option of using their desktop.
That's also a
Like me.
very good excuse. If I did
Or
travel a
C.
lot, I would absolutely use this.
Or C, you are somebody that has to travel as a passenger a lot, i.e., someone who commutes on a bus or someone who goes to college. Both people who are not able to be at their desktop all day,
Agreed.
but need something to be able to play when on the go. Or D, somebody who's not able to sit for a long period of time.
I have
It's
one
easier to
word
play a
answer
console
for
on a
you.
couch or bed.
Laptop. Because that's what I did in college, is that I had a laptop that I literally read manga on, and I played Pokemon Emerald on.
Now, granted, yes, you could use a laptop, but a laptop is not necessarily the most comfortable thing to use on a bus.
Understood.
Also, a laptop is not the most comfortable thing to bust out when you're going back and forth between classes or whatnot. It's not always possible to bust out your laptop when sitting outside waiting for a class. It's not always possible to bust out your laptop while waiting for the bus to come. Also, most importantly, when you're laptops just feel different. And I'll be honest, I hate using a trackpad so fucking much. I don't
But
mind using
you're
a
willing
trackpad
to you're willing to accept one if you have to use it for a gaming console, though.
Not necessarily. I think a thumb trackpad is a lot better than a pointer trackpad. So when you're
It's
using a
no
trackpad on a
different.
laptop,
It's
no, there
literally
is a
not
difference.
different.
There is a difference. No, there is a difference, and here's why. When you're using a laptop trackpad, the laptop trackpad is separated from the keyboard and dead center further away, and it's really only usable by one finger. It makes it really difficult to go back and forth between keyboard and trackpad, so it doesn't feel very good. Now, here's the difference. The Steam Deck has the trackpad where your thumb is. So it is very easy and reflexive to use the trackpad.
But you're not doing
I
normal PC stuff on a Steam Deck or whatever.
You are, if you're in desktop mode. And I would actually say that when I play a game that uses a mouse, or if I'm on the desktop mode just doing normal things, I feel using the trackpad with my thumb is way more comfortable than if I was to remove my hands from the keyboard and use the trackpad on a laptop.
I will say that I do enjoy using my drawing tablet for my mouse and doing stuff and whatnot, but it might be because I'm just more used to using a mouse or whatnot, so I don't know. Because I would hate, the second that you lift off of the trackpad, does your mouse stay there? Can you scroll with it, or do you have to stay right there?
So the way the trackpad works on the Steam Deck, the right edge of the trackpad can be scrolled with your thumb, and it's like a scroll wheel. If you remove your finger from the trackpad, which it's your thumb, so you're not really removing your thumb from it very often, but if you do, it stays in place.
No, my question
Just
is
like
like if you use the is like the far left, right, top and bottom of the trackpad the same like space that would be your screen, or can you, like, using a mouse, can you do this?
So, well, no, the trackpad is about the size. The trackpad is probably the size of your thumb in terms of a square. So if you have to go from one end of the screen to the other, you'd probably have to scroll your thumb 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
So you would essentially have to do the same thing, either as lifting up your mouse or increasing your DPI.
Because
I think you can increase the DPI on the Steam Deck.
Because drawing tablets, they usually default it to like the edges and corners of the tablet is where you are on your screen, and I hate that. I need to be able to scroll like a mouse would, because if I pick up my hand and move it, like I would while I'm like drawing by hand, and then the mouse like moves to where I just moved to, it's so like disorienting.
Yeah.
I need my mouse to stay right there and then let me move my hand.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's just like when you move a mouse, when you're like scrolling and then you pick it up and that needs to be a thing.
Everyone uses mice differently, so I can understand that.
Yeah. I will say
that you should be able to adjust.
I think I just don't like portable things, and I'm willing to admit that, because when I want to play a game, I want to actually hold and feel a controller. I don't want to be holding onto a piece of wood. I don't want a skateboard in my hand when I'm trying to play a game. So I think I just like the feel of a controller.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly reasonable to say that and to think that. I, on the other hand, really enjoy playing things off the PC, because I am just so often on the PC that I like to just be away from it. So I really enjoy handheld stuff. But then again, I also travel a lot, so I have a good reason to like handheld stuff. So to each their own. I think they're both valid.
And I think you're wrong.
All right, let's go and head out.
Yeah, and that's been the Trifles Tribulations podcast. We'll see you in here next week when we're going to argue about more stuff. Or not argue, but like complain about stuff.
Yes. Have heated discussions.
Arguments means that someone feels like they have to prove their point and be a winner. And that's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We're just sharing different viewpoints.
No, we're equally wrong here.
Well, I'm not saying that the Nintendo Switch is a bad console. I just feel like because and this is why you talk about stuff, just to be real quick here. You talk about something because you care about it and you want it to be good and you actually pay attention to it. I'm not saying that Nintendo is a bad company at all. I'm just saying that I've noticed some stuff and here's my input. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Nintendo.
It's like I
and
said, I really, really hope that when Nintendo makes the next console, which you know it's going to be portable, because Nintendo has basically decided that every single thing they do is portable now. And I'm okay with that because honestly, we need one of the big three to decide we're going to do something different. Because the other two are basically just trying to be PC lights.
yeah,
And the funny thing about that is that you can be a PC light all you want. If I have a choice between a PC and a PS4 or a PS5 or a PS5000, I'm always going to pick the fucking PC.
the only
So you
thing
go
that they
ahead and do
had
that.
going for them was trying to do better graphics, and now PCs can do that. So it's just like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Exactly.
do?
Which is why I'm okay with the Nintendo Switch. Because although the Nintendo Switch is not a superior console, although the Nintendo Switch, in my opinion, isn't even really a console at all, it's something different. And that's what matters the most. That we have at least some competition. It's okay if the competition sucks. At least we have it.
It needs to be integratable with different things like cars or something.
That would be ridiculous.
Anyways, we'll talk more about it next time.
Yeah.
Because we could go on to this for like another 5 hours for sure. So we'll come back to this another time.
I have a cup of ice to eat. I need to go.
All right. Bye.